Good evening and welcome to the annual Appreciation of Beautification Awards. My name is Marcy Post and I am the City Staff Representative for the Beautification Advisory Committee, which is a subcommittee of the Parks and Recreation Department. I ask at this time, please turn off your cell phones. Please be aware that the awards are televised, and I have included a copy of the MCTV schedule at the back of the room, along with business cards if you need to get a hold of me after the presentation. Every year, the Beautification Advisory Committee sponsors two programs. In the spring, we offer the Make Midland Beautiful Art Celebration, which is a poster contest for children in 2nd and 6th grades. We ask children to draw a picture of what makes Midland beautiful to them. One poster is selected from each participating school, and the artists are given a special recognition at a city council meeting every May. This program is the Beautification Awards program. Amy Tolton, the chair of the Beautification Advisory Committee, is going to let us know how the program works. At this time, I'd like to invite Amy to the podium to begin this evening's festivities. Amy?
Thank you, Marcy. Each year, this program recognizes both businesses and residential properties within the City of Midland for landscaping and structural site improvements that are visible to the public. In other words, you may have a beautiful backyard, but we can only look at the front yard. Each year, the members of this committee are assigned a section of the city to canvass and to make nominations for beautification awards. We also welcome nominations from the public. We vote, and the results are what you will see presented here this evening. Now, I'm going to introduce the current members of the committee, and I see there are a couple not in this room, though they are here this evening. As I call your name, will you please stand up? Abby Clarehout, Brian Frankovich, Steve Jenkins, Joe Kaju, Nellie Mundung, Gina Peterson, and Rudy Phillips. Thank you very much. Nancy Wells, the vice chair, could not be present this evening. Thank you for all your efforts in contributing nominations and for voting on the awards to be made. Each year, there are lovely nominations that make it to the honorable mentions stage. And so now I'm going to read out what the honorable mentions are in the residential category. 3704 Blarney Drive, Scott and Georgina Leach. 5901 Evergreen, Hugh Gershon. 2707 Gary Street, Arthur and Kathleen Sigsworth. 3808 Leonard Lane, Matthew and Katie Wakeman. 4110 McKeith Road, Ed and Jane Succi. 1313 Ohio Street, Mary Beth O'Connor. 5201 Sweet Avenue, Jeannie Conley. Now, this year in the non-residential category, there are also honorable mentions, and they are 2800 Airport Road, the Midland Community Aviation Discovery Area. 409 Ashman Street, Midland Real Estate. 3701 Cambridge Street, Trinity Lutheran. 110 West Main, Shaheen Developments. Congratulations to you all for achieving honorable mention status. And now I am pleased to introduce our Mayor, Maureen Donker, for her part in this evening's program. Maureen?
Thank you, Amy. Well, welcome all of you. Now, there's many things that bring people here. So let me just say we have our wonderful committee here, and I want to thank them for the work that they do because they spend truly a tremendous amount of time on this endeavor, and it's really a wonderful way that we can promote beautification in our community. Now, others, you're here because you're receiving awards, and there's even more people here who are the support of you, who are out there working in your yard, and they're here to cheer you on and to just, celebrate with you the awards that are going to be given out this evening. So I want to thank all of you for coming, because really beautification is important in our community. Now, when I think about it, I have to say that it's something that is really near and dear to my heart. Well, I was on the committee at one point in my life, and I have to say that during that time, not only did I learn a lot about our community because I drove every street in the city, as did most of the members on this committee, but it's also I learned a lot about the community and the neighborhoods, and really I think it enhanced my appreciation of beautification. When I think about it, I think, what does beauty really do? It's something that feeds our soul. It brings us pleasure, whether you're enjoying it or creating it. And it's really something that enhances well-being. And it's something that really gives our community life. Now, if I'm going to think about it from a mayor perspective, it does all that. But what it also does is, I think it is a wonderful way of creating economic development. Now, there is a study that was done back in 2010, and it was called The Soul of the Community: Why People Love Where They Live and Why Does It Matter? And in that report, they named 10 attributes that they called attachment, create attachment that people have with their communities. Number 3 on that list was aesthetics. So now when you think about Midland and you think about aesthetics, or you think about other communities, well, you can think about, maybe Denver, Colorado, or Vail, Colorado, and you can think about living in the mountains, or you can think about living up north and having, living by the water and our beautiful Great Lakes. And there's a lot of natural beauty there. Well, in our community, we have to create our beauty. And I think that as a city, we work hard to do that. But we only can do so much as a city. The rest of it really comes from the efforts of the people who live here. And that's all of you who are here tonight. I mean, so much beauty you create in the neighborhoods, not just for yourself, but for the people who live around you, who enjoy looking at what you've accomplished in your yards, but also for people who drive down their streets and just enjoy the beauty that they see when they drive through the neighborhoods. So it's so important what you do, because for us, it makes Midland the kind of place that we want to be, that attracts people and helps us be what I say is the city of choice. So thank you so much for everything that you do to make Midland a wonderful place to live. And at this point, I would like to turn it over to Nellie Mundhank, who's going to start out with our residential awards.
I have the privilege of announcing the first group of recipients for the Beautification Awards. The first one goes to Shelley Hupfer on 420 Lemke Street. By adding a magnificent array of vibrant flowers and lush greenery, Shelley's transformed the curb appeal of her home. The yard has been reseeded and a beautiful new half-moon flower bed has been added to the front of the home. Passers-by will delight in the ornaments that add a whimsical flair to the wonderful yard. Shelley, would you like to come up and accept your award?
Thank you very much. This was a big honor and quite a shock when I received it in the mail. I've been doing it all my life. I've started with my mother, and I bought this house a couple years ago and had 2 bushes and 4 hostas on it. So it's kind of changed a little bit, and I turned it into my life's work. So I just love working in the dirt, I guess. Thank you.
Congratulations. The next home is the home of Steve Webb and Matthew Mitchell on 605 West Main Street. The garden is worth a walk on the rail trail to experience. The owners have embraced the fact that their garden is viewed by walkers, riders, and runners on a daily basis. The beautiful and unique fence with stained glass insets allows the public a glimpse into the gorgeous plantings in the backyard rather than keeping it all to themselves. The stone wall and other unique touches frame the huge hostas, hydrangea, and grasses. Even with the historic flood this year, they kept the garden looking spectacular. Would you like to come up and accept your award? Oh, they didn't come? Okay. Never mind. The next one is Wayne Yagidis on 4114 McKeith Road. This stunning yard shows how much fun a gardener can have with a smaller canvas. Perennials and annuals are thoughtfully planted so the beauty of this garden lasts all summer long. When you drive through this neighborhood, it immediately catches your attention with the layers of beautiful pink and red blooms that contrast against all of the lush greenery. The plantings and weeping tree in the side yard draw your eye to the beautiful side yard entry. Wayne has an attention to detail and pride in his home, and it shows. Wayne, would you like to come up and accept your award?
Good evening. I like to thank the committee. I'd like to thank Nellie for nominating my yard. And this is a great honor for me. And I'd like to think in some small way I am making Midland a prettier place to live. Thank you.
George and Carol Corder on 4309 Moreland Drive. These homeowners use pops of red in a woodsy area to keep their gardens modern but beautiful. The amazing hosta garden will be a joy to come back to every year as it grows and matures. With a few well-placed rocks and pots of begonias, they achieve a stunning display. George and Carol, would you like to come up and accept your award?
George and I would like to thank the City of Midland, especially the Beautification Committee members, and the entire City of Midland for their dedication to this wonderful award. We were both surprised and humbled and honored by the award because there are so many truly beautiful places in Midland. We have lived in our home for 38 years, and we are the original owners. During the time that we have lived in the home, we have strived to incorporate annuals and perennials and native woodland plants into our landscaping. We tried to make an enhancement of the style of the home, which, as you can see, is a modern, sort of a mid-century modern type of architectural home. So we tried to enhance what was already there. We tried to blend the woods, which are quite dense, along with the large trees that we have and the almost 15 acres of parkland, which are in our backyard. So it has been both a joy and a challenge to do this because of a number of factors. We have a very large deer herd. And in fact, George reminded me at one point we had 17 deer eating from one of our bird feeders. Well, actually, several of the bird feeders at one time. We have some beautiful, old, large oak and maple trees. We have dense woods. We have a lot of shade. We have a creek that overflows its banks every now and then. And we also have a gully that runs right through the middle of the garden that you see in the front yard pictures. Yes, there it is. So we had to get creative and think about what would work. And by trial and error, we have come up with some things that look pretty good most of the time. We also want to say that we love to garden because it's a joy for us. We want to do it because it not only brings joy and satisfaction to us, but we hope to our neighbors and to our neighborhood as well. And that's why we do it. So once again, thank you to not only the Parks and Recreation Committee and the City of Midland and to all of the hours that the dedicated volunteers have put forward for this wonderful award. By giving this award to residents and to businesses, you are, of course, enhancing our city and making it a better place for all of us. So thank you so much.
Gina, would you like to come up and present the next awards?
Thank you, Nellie. The next residential landscape winners are Drew and Ellen Talbot of 2404 Ashman Street. This charming brick home uses symmetry and splashes of color to welcome visitors. Grasses flank the paver walk, and that leads to the front door. Pots of colorful annuals grace the roomy porch. Catnip, hydrangeas balance the height of the porch. And hostas and daylilies provide a continuity around the foundation. Everything is well maintained and polished. The house was built in 1936. It's a Tudor-style house, and that has guided the evolution of the garden. The front and back have been addressed with paths and landscape lighting and garden decor. The loss of a large tree and replacement of the front sewer were the impetus to the current design of the garden and the formal path. Ellen and Drew say they get great pleasure out of planting annuals, caring for the gardens, and adding seasonal decorations. And I went by today, and they had wonderful pumpkins out. So their note states, it's an honor to be awarded the 2017 Beautification Award. We are very thankful that our efforts are being recognized. We are sad that we are unable to attend the presentation. We will make sure that they get their award. The next garden is that of Patricia Veith Powers and Brian Powers at 149 Brentwood Drive. This garden is highlighted by window boxes, and they're filled with colorful annuals. Azaleas bloom in the spring, and the shaded front yard is complemented by the colorful shade annuals in the boxes. Hostas and more flowers border the new brick walkway. The garden is truly a labor of love. Patricia states that she started gardening to complement the new siding, roof, and windows in 2013. After losing her husband in 2012, creating the garden and learning about the plants helped her through her grief. She and her new husband are continuing to improve the garden in both the front and the back of the house. They're not able to be here tonight, but we'll make sure they get their award. The next house is Catherine Schultz of 4501 Castle Drive. This colorful garden is highlighted by original and ornate pieces of art, and they complement the colorful perennials, the roses, begonias, petunias, zinnias that are planted in among them. Front sidewalk garden continues the color palette of the sidewalk and foundation plantings. Catherine says she is constantly adding new items as the seasons change. She states, I find great joy when onlookers stop to view my yard. It brings a smile to my face every time. Thank you for choosing me to receive a Home Beautification Award. I believe, Wayne, that you are going to say a few words about our garden? Okay.
Yeah, I would like to accept this award for Kathy, who could not make it here tonight, but she would like to thank everyone who made it possible to get this.
The next garden is that of Laura and Robert Lofiego, 1603 Crane Court. The house was built in 1934, and this is the second time the property's been recognized with a Beautification Award. The gem of a front garden is accented by a white picket fence and pergola, inviting the visitor into the ivy-covered house. Bright hydrangeas, daylilies, hosta, and grasses flow around the fence and the pergola. Tall flowers add punch to the color scheme, while trimmed boxwood and evergreens provide a formal touch. Laura and Robert, can you come up and accept your award?
This is such an honor, I can't believe it. First, I want to thank Mayor Donker, the City of Midland, and the committee. Thank you so much. This truly is just a labor of love. I'm going to get teary. The house is old, it's falling apart, and so are we. but the garden just keeps on growing and growing and growing. And we've learned so much about what to plant where. We have a shady, warm, a cool side and a hot side. So we've learned, I didn't want the grasses. When we first worked with Reader Landscape, they wanted to put the grasses in. Now they're my favorites because they just grow. And you hack them off in the spring or in the fall, and they come back in the spring. I'm just so thankful. It's such an honor. Thank you very much.
And now Abby is going to announce the rest of the Residential Landscape Awards.
Thanks, Gina. Our next winner is Bob and Dawn Hartley of 1107 North Street. This quaint house has very tidy beds with clean lines and lawn edges. Perfectly placed garden accents enhance the finishing touch to an already well thought out display. Big, lush planting containers add a nice splash of color, making this property an irresistible asset to the neighborhood. Thank you for all of your hard work. Dawn, would you please come up to accept your award?
Well, I'm really proud to get this, and like everybody else, it's really a surprise, you know. I mean, I know it looks good, and I did a lot of work and everything, but it's still a surprise. And even though my husband passed away last year, I feel like he's here with me tonight. And it gave me a lot of therapy, because I love to work in the yard, and that first year was tough. But we made it. Thank you.
Next up, Diane Hartley of 1401 Ohio Street. How could you not notice this red house surrounded by a lush landscape when driving down the street? Specimen plants amongst colorful annuals and shrubs draw the eye to these well-tended beds. Window boxes, hanging baskets, and containers are full of bountiful plants and color, drawing the eye to the impeccably maintained home's exterior. Diane is unable to be here tonight, but we will make sure she gets her award. Our next winners are Yolanda and Andrew Bone of 3017 Orchard Drive. Sitting atop a hill along Orchard Drive, one can't help but look at the stunning landscape display that surrounds this house. Roses, daisies, lilies, and ornamental grasses spill color and create movement as your eye takes it all in. Well-kept beds and lawn make this house a sure winner. Thank you for your dedication to making a beautiful space. Yolanda and Andrew, please come to accept your award.
Well, we also thank the committee and very thankful for this award. We certainly weren't expecting it, and it's just something that I grew up in England, and my whole family is kind of full of gardeners, and so I had to. I think I was supposed to take that on as a part of my inheritance, but my wife is kind of the planner for our yard, and she tells me what to plant. And
we had help. We had landscapers come in
Yeah.
a couple of times, coochies and pick, but we kind of tweaked it as well over the years. So
yeah, we've lived in our home 18 years. The first year when we bought the house, there was nothing in the yard. There was absolutely nothing there. So we've had the fortune of kind of watching the garden grow over the years, and
we didn't think anyone noticed. That's awesome. Like, I was surprised.
Yeah, thank you all for the award, and we appreciate it very much.
You. Thank you very much.
And next up, Francis and Thomas McMillan of 4521 Ottawa Street. Neatly tended beds and borders, window boxes, and planting containers are the key ingredients to this luxurious garden. Stone statues, garden accents, and an inviting front porch welcome you as you walk up. Grasses, perennials, and shrubs and specimen trees make a winning garden combination at this lively home. Thank you for all of your hard work. Fran and Tom are unable to attend tonight, but we will make sure that they get their award. And now I'd like to introduce Steve Jenkins, who will be presenting the awards for our non-residential winners.
Thank you, Abby. The first award, the awardees have a really nice description, but I'll let them read it or talk about it. The committee suggested I go out there and get my first impressions, but this is Culver's. I'm sure you all know it, have been there, have probably eaten there, but my first impression was not the building, although it's an attractive structure, but all the plantings, bushes, trees, planters at the front door and around the back on the patio. The patio is most inviting for al fresco dining, and it's planted with roses, hostas, grasses, and other planters. Even the outer edges of the property are well defined by more plantings, a landscaper's delight. And although it might be stretching my role as a presenter, I do have to say the food is quite good. So I would like to invite I believe we have 3 of the recipients tonight. It's Pete Spoon, Kathy Thiel, and Karen Lederer. If you would come up and accept the award.
First of all, what an honor. Thank you for picking us. We're just really honored. We couldn't do it without Karen. Karen is our landscaper. She also works for us full-time. She's picky. She places everything. You don't touch her flowers. You have to ask permission to water them. And if she takes the weekend off, she'll tell you what to do while she's gone. And every year she adds to it and just makes this more beautiful. So we've been very lucky with Karen. And we couldn't do it without the help from all of our employees. We're very blessed. And thank you for being so welcoming to us in Midland. Thank you.
Our next property, McLaren Dental, has used small trees, well-trimmed bushes, knockout roses, hardy perennials, rocks and stones in foundation plantings around their red office building and in beds around their parking lot to add attractive coolness, color, and softness to the concrete areas and landscape. Their beautification effort is unique for the business community in that the area offers a lovely example. Be sure to check out the gorgeous garden behind the offices, but visible from the parking lot. So I'd like to welcome the owners, and I presume it's Dr. McLaren and his family to come and accept the award.
And I understand Ian aspires to be mayor.
Hello, I'm Dr. Charles McLaren, one of the owners of McLaren Dental Associates. I want to thank the committee for providing us with this award. We expanded this business back in 2011. We had purchased a lot adjacent, and you can't tell from the building, but it's actually, we expanded and doubled the size of the building. At that time in 2011, we also expanded all of our landscaping, redid all of the landscaping. I want to thank landscape craftsman and Mr. David Kraft for all of his help in maintaining the property. And as you guys mention the backyard is something that we get to see every day. The best place to see it is as a patient. So I would encourage anybody who wants to see the backyard to become a patient first. And you can see it in any day that you come in with an appointment. Thank you very much.
Our final awardee is another place that many of you have been. I've certainly been out there a few times. We opened the entryway by removing overgrown shrubs and added perennials in their place. The red nonstop begonias are planted along the walks for great color impact all season. Calliope geraniums are hung all along the porch. The bare spots were filled in with hardy sedum. So I'd like to welcome Kathy Schmidt, the Executive Director of Independence Villages, and I believe she may have some other folks with her. Come forward, accept your award.
So my name is Kathy. I am the executive director at the building, but this lady has been planting those gardens for 15, 16 years now. Our residents thank you. This is something that I know on several occasions the residents have said, oh, we nominated you for this award, but we didn't win. So I'm not sure who nominated us this year, but thank you from the bottom of my heart, and all 115 of our residents, thank you as well. Shonda?
I would just like to say thank you very much also. Very honored.
It's her hard work.
Thank you.
And now Cherry King.
Thank you, members of the Beautification Committee and the Parks and Recreation Commission. I am truly humbled to be asked to tell you about Betty R. Toller, truly a community champion for beautification in the city of Midland, but also in the state of Michigan. In 2017, both Betty and Jim Toller passed away. Betty and Jim were enthusiastic supporters of beautification efforts in the city of Midland. The word beautification and the Toller name go hand in hand. Betty R. Toller received the first Lifetime Achievement Award from the City of Midland's Beautification Advisory Committee. On December 21, 2009, the Midland City Council presented the Tollers with a resolution of recognition. It reads in part, whereas in 1990, the Beautification Advisory Committee named its highest award in Betty's honor as the Betty R. Toller Civic Commitment Award. And whereas Betty's husband, Jim, played a very important supporting role in all of Betty's endeavors, and whereas Betty and Jim Toller received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Beautification Advisory Committee on November 25, 2009, and whereas an Okami cherry tree was planted in their honor on city property at the intersection of Main and Cronkite Streets, now therefore resolved that we, the Midland City Council, hereby recognize Betty R. and Jim Toller for their many outstanding contributions to the city of Midland. The Okami cherry tree was selected because in the spring, the flower closely resembles the flower on the city's beautification awards. Betty devoted over 40 years of volunteerism to the beautification of her community, and many of these projects continue today. Betty was appointed to the Midland Beautification Commission when it was founded in 1969 and became a charter member. She served for 25 years, with an additional 21 years as an emeritus member. She promoted beautification by supporting many projects while generously recognizing others for their beautification accomplishments. In 1970, she was named chair of the Midland County chapter of Keep Michigan Beautiful Incorporated, KMB. She served on the board of directors since 1981, served as KMB's president in 1994 and 95, and continued as a member at large on the executive committee until her passing in May of 2017. In 1994, by unanimous decision of the City Council, Betty was appointed a non-voting honorary lifetime member of the Beautification Advisory Commission. At over 90 years of age, Betty continued to be an active emeritus member of today's Beautification Advisory Committee of Midlands Parks and Recreation Commission until her death. Betty Toller used her own time and resources to pursue her volunteer projects, which Betty describes as labors of love. She provided the funding for a feasibility study of the Midland County Courthouse, which provided the catalyst for the Midland County Board of Commissioners to approve the restoration of the building, and she chaired the committee that produced the Riverfront Development Plan from 1969 to 1973. She wrote and published the 40-year and 50-year history books of Keep Michigan Beautiful, Inc., as well as the story of the 20th century efforts to beautify Midland. The projects and programs Betty has supported for community betterment vary widely, with various numbers of people involved. For example, Betty worked with hundreds of school children installing plantings for the Bicentennial Forest project at the Chippewa Nature Center. She was present daily to welcome the children as each bus arrived at the planting site. As field coordinator, she was responsible for the execution of the planting of some 25,000 seedlings by about 3,000 people on 25 acres of land located at the Nature Center to celebrate the state's bicentennial. In 1989, Betty was the recipient of the Reverend Glenn E. Bauman Community Service Award presented by the Midland Community Relations Commission. The inscription on her plaque read, "For her dedicated and enthusiastic participation in voluntary community services ranging from matters of city planning, development, and beautification, to the celebration of special events, to the education of young people, to historic restoration, to preservation of wildlife." Additionally, Midland Blooms is a project of the Midland Area Chamber of Commerce that was organized in 1988. Betty was involved in its formation and has planted for many years along with her neighbors since the inception of this program. For several years, Betty was a block captain for this program, which annually plants about 50,000 petunias, planted by about 800 volunteers from the community. The various and many projects she has chaired, directed, or supported have been done by volunteers and organizations from throughout the community. In 2010, Betty Toller was also the recipient of Keep Michigan Beautiful's Wally R. Bronner Lifetime Achievement Award for her tireless commitment to beautification and historic preservation. That is the highest award given by Keep Michigan Beautiful, Inc. In 2016, the Midland America in Bloom Committee nominated Betty R. Toller as their community champion for her selfless commitment to the betterment and beautification of the city of Midland for more than 45 years. The Midland community is very proud of Betty and all that she accomplished in the name of beautification. She will truly be missed.
That does conclude our award ceremony for the evening. We'd like to thank you all for coming. We ask that you drive safe, and if there's any leftover cookies, feel free to take them. Otherwise, we'll eat them all. Thank you.